Alright, so the first game of week number 4 of the 2021 MLS season is in the books, and not only the fact that I'm happy the Quakes got a come-from-behind win against RSL on the road, but this also means that I get to wear this, a retro 1996 San Jose Clash t-shirt that just arrived at my house, I think on Monday, and it was kind of a shame the fact that it arrived on Monday and not a day earlier, because if this jersey was arrived a day earlier, or a t-shirt that arrived a day earlier, I would have literally wear this during the review and basically really talk about how when I review the San Jose Earthquakes versus DC United match, I'll basically tell you that I'm wearing this because I'm basically paying some tribute in terms of the first ever game in league history, and it's kind of a bummer the fact that it didn't arrive in time when I, of course, was doing the review. And I also said before that it was also kind of a shame it didn't arrive when I was doing the preview too, because I was also going to wear this t-shirt when I talk about the review or talk about the preview of week number 3. But that being said, as I said, since the Quakes did win in this game, I literally immediately had to wear this, and I actually was wearing this while I was watching this game, so maybe I should wear this jersey more often, because maybe this is kind of like a good luck charm kind of jersey where, when I wear this, the Quakes will always end up getting all 3 points. But in terms of this game, well, what can you say about, other than the fact that if there's one word to describe how the Quakes won this game against RSL, it's Wondo. I mean, I don't know what else I need to add about Wondo besides the fact that he's no doubt going to go down as one, if not the greatest player to ever play in this league. And I also would love to beg Wondo if he can maybe reconsider his retirement at the end of the year, because I know this is obviously potentially his swan song season, but the way that he, of course, is still able to score goals on a regular basis and continue to be the guy, one of the most dangerous guy on the attack for us, I really hope he might be even reconsider his retirement, just like he did last year, where, remember last season there was a lot of rumors whether or not if that was actually it for him, but he decided to kind of come back one last season. But now, after seeing some of the impact that he, of course, had made in this game, and also if he would have scored that goal against the Houston Dynamo, then I would really beg Wondo to come back to this team, and I know that he, of course, definitely still got it. But in the first half, I thought RSL dominate the possession early in this game, and again, it was another slow start for the Quakes. And by the way, despite the fact that the Quakes got a come from behind victory, this was kind of an ugly win for the Quakes. I mean, I didn't think for a majority of this game they were at their best, and early on, as I mentioned, it was a really slow start for the Quakes on the road, and they were just getting pinned back. Like, this was very similar to that road game against the Houston Dynamo, where they just cannot play out of the press. RSL did do a good job in terms of pressing the Quakes in this game, but at the same time, I was really hoping that the Quakes can learn from their mistake in that game against the Dynamo, where they just could not able to get into opposition half, and it doesn't seem like that was the case. In the 16th minute, Justamiram hit the post from 22 yards out, and I think that was really the first real opportunity of this game, because despite the fact that RSL dominated the possession, there wasn't really a lot of chances early on in this game. Then KCal basically hit the side netting after a wonderful solo run. I mean, KCal kind of had a back down to earth moment in this game, where I didn't really think he was that lethal going toward goal. Although that being said, I also think he didn't really got a lot of surface for a majority part of this game, and that I think it's also kind of too much to ask for a 17-year-old to just continually do what he has done in the last 2 games. So I'll definitely give KCal a pass, the fact that he did not had the best game in this one. There was a couple of half chances for both teams, but neither keeper really had been tested. Again, the only real opportunity we had up to that point was just Amir smacking the post from 22 yards out. But then as we head to halftime, and it looks like this was going to end in a 0-0 scoreline heading into the half, because it was a relatively uneventful first half, Rubio Rubin scored an absolute golazo, and I would say a bicycle kick golazo from Demar Krylak to make it 1-0 in favor of RSL. I mean, when I saw that, not only the fact that I was definitely stunned, the fact that he even dared to try that, but the fact that he tried to bicycle kick that one and able to put that one on target and put it into the back net, I mean, that automatically has to be the goal of the week. Like, anytime when you score a bicycle kick, I don't care if there's any amazing goal that we're going to see this week. Anytime when you score a bicycle kick, I think there should be a rule where you automatically win the goal of the week, because we just don't see that happen very often. Now, that being said, as much as I was kind of stunned and kind of just tipped my hat off to Rubio Rubin scoring that amazing goal, that goal probably wouldn't have happened because of a couple of seconds late before, where the Quakes actually gave a throw-in to RSL, and it was actually Marcos Lopez with an uncharacteristic pass to basically nobody and gave the possession to RSL. And you could also argue the fact that the Quakes probably shouldn't be conceding a goal from a throw-in, but that being said, I think the real fault of that is that Marcos Lopez, if he did not turn that ball over and give RSL a chance to have an offensive throw-in deep in Quakes territory, that goal probably shouldn't have happened in that attacking sequence. Definitely shouldn't have happened. But nevertheless, RSL were up 1-0 heading into the second half. And in the second half, there was actually a false start to the start of the second half, something that we usually never see, where the referee decided to kind of blow it back and decided to restart the kickoff for the second half. And I'm not quite sure why exactly there was actually like a false start, and who basically made a false start kind of movement that the referee basically decided that, let's just restart this second half and basically restart the kickoff of this second half. But that's what we saw during that moment. Brody did had a chance in the 46th minute to strike one, but he unfortunately hits it wide from 17 yards out. Then Chofis Lopez launched one high from 20 yards out. I think that was one of the better chances that the Quakes had up to that point, because again, the Quakes, they were pretty much non-existent going forward on the attack, at least for the first 47 minutes. There was some pushing and shoving between both of these teams, because why not? I know I didn't mention this in the preview, but this match between RSL versus the Quakes, I've seen this match happen before over the years, and this tends to be a very feisty match. I mean, this might not seems like a rivalry in many people's book, but when the players play in this game, they feel like they are rivals with each other, and that there's always been a lot of physical game between RSL and the San Jose Earthquakes over the year, and this was kind of an example of that one, where there was kind of some pushing and shoving. And I think this all started when I believe it was Rusnak that basically made a foul on Carlos Fierro down the flank, and then Florian Youngworth immediately just sprint from 30 yards out to pretty much get into the face of Rusnak, and then from then on it basically just kicked off. But fortunately, there was no red card that was resorted in that play. Then in the 51st minute, Ochoa. So you know how David Ochoa, he's been a guy that for the past couple of weeks has always been in the headlines in terms of his antics, and then obviously last week we heard about the headlines of him starting a new culture where anytime when RSL gets a win or they're playing at home, he's just gonna punt the ball into the stands and continue to kind of trigger Loons fans while they're at it. Well, another thing that besides he of course decided to do that every single game from now on is that he's also going to continue his antics, because he actually landed hard on his back, and obviously he was definitely in some pain when he was landed hard on his back. But what I kind of feels like that he was trying to create some antics, and this was just classic David Ochoa dark arts kind of thing, is that while he was on his ground, he was actually holding his face, and I was like, well, you literally just landed on your back, but you are holding your face. That doesn't add up whatsoever, and it's also just kind of an example of why, yeah, it's clear that David Ochoa is going to continue to do that. And I feel like there's always been a debate in terms of the dark arts in this game. There's some people that say that they like the dark arts of some of these players do, but there are also some people that kind of is not happy with the way that the dark arts can sometimes take place into this game. And in this instance, I get why Ochoa is kind of trying to do that, because this is not the first time we've seen him do something similar to that. And also, I'm guessing he is trying to already waste as much time as possible and hope that RSL can just sneak out with a 1-0 victory in this one. Now, in the 55th minute, Miram did drag Watt from close range. I thought Justin Marin had a very good game in this one, and he was very unlucky to not score a goal in this game. As I mentioned earlier, he actually smacked the post early in this one. The Quakes, in the 65th minute, they did try to bring in some fresh leg and bring in Salinas and also Rios. In the 69th minute, Mark Sinkowski did deny Krylak from close range. And then I basically wrote, as we get closer to the last 20 minutes of this game, will fatigue start to come in for the Quakes? Because as much as I know they obviously made all 5 their substitution very early in this game, and they actually bring in Wondo right about the same time when Mark Sinkowski was able to keep the Quakes in this one. I still wonder, with them playing in altitude, and especially from what I heard earlier, that they actually did not arrive in Salt Lake City until just hours before the games. I was very concerned that the fatigue was going to get to this team, but instead, I thought the Quakes in the last 20 minutes was probably where they looked the most dangerous throughout the entire game. But first of all, Justin Marin did have another chance as he tried to tease one up from 21 yards out, but just missed one. The Quakes did try to push for the equalizer, but I also kind of thought that their final ball was lacking, and they were kind of started to do a lot of kind of aimless, hopeful crosses into the box. And when I see that, it just immediately reminds me of Minnesota United, and immediately reminds me how when I see the Loons do that, that usually does not work. And I feel like with the way that the Quakes are doing the same thing, I'm just basically throwing my hands up in the air and saying, yeah, they're probably not going to score a goal in this one. But in the 77th minute, Fierro did hit one wide from a hopeful crosses that was coming into the box from 10 yards out. And then in the 83rd minute, the equalizer happened for the Quakes, and Wondo, of course, happened in the 83rd minutes too, as he scores to tie the game up at 1 apiece. Ochoa originally made a good save to deny Fierro, but he did allow a juicy rebound right to Wondo. Well, actually, he didn't really allow a juicy rebound, but more like how Wondo was basically completely unmarked in the back post. And honestly, I just don't know how he always does this, where, as much as I know teams have always been taught that you got to watch out for where Wondo is in the box, somehow in some way Wondo always find a way to be mysteriously get into the back post, and it's almost like he's almost like a magician with the way that he just kind of peel out of nowhere and basically tapped it into the back net. And that was just a good example of that. But at the same time, if you're RSL and also Freddy Corres, you must be absolutely furious with the way that, this is the thing that for the past 17 years, every teams have tried to contain Wondo and make sure he doesn't make that mysterious run in the pack post to basically tap it in, and yet somehow 17 years later it still is happening. And then in the 87th minute, he would score again from Carlos Fierro. What a ball that was from Fierro to basically put a pinpoint ball into the box, which Wondo basically heads that one in. But the fact that RSL did not do a good job in terms of trying to prevent Wondo to basically heads that one in, and didn't really get tighter in terms of not letting Wondo to really have a good jump to hit that one in. Yeah, that's also another suspect defending, I think, that RSL committed during that point. In the 93rd minute, as RSL was pushing to try to get the equalizer, and also when Wondo did score this goal to make it 2-1, you can definitely hear the silence at Rio Tinto Stadium, and probably also heard like maybe 10 to 15 Quakes fans that actually did make the trip to Salt Lake City. I bet they're definitely celebrating somewhere there. But around 5,000 fans at Rio Tinto Stadium was just completely in silence, and just kind of stunned. The fact that their team was in control for so long in this game, and all of a sudden Wondo happened, and in the span of 4 minutes they're down 2-1 and are trying to chase the game to get a draw out of this one. K-Cal did have a chance to seal one to make it 3-1, and honestly, I really want K-Cal to score that one, because that would just continue to justify the hype that he's been having in the last 2 games. But unfortunately, he puts that one wide. But either way, the Quakes are able to hold on and get a massive 2-1 win against RSL. I believe this is the third win in a row for the Quakes, and honestly, it's been a while since the Quakes have actually had a winning streak that is more than two games. I mean, I don't recall the last two seasons where this team actually won 3 in a row, and that it always seems like the reason why that is the case is whenever they go on the road, despite the fact that they have a good winning streak from their homestand, they somehow will find a way to lose on the road and basically discontinue this losing streak. So yeah, it was definitely refreshing, the fact that they now have won 3 in a row, and that, you know, I also mentioned how this was a huge test for them in terms of the fact that this was really the first big opponent that I think the Quakes have faced, compared to the first 3 opponents where it was relatively easy team and they were able to get 2 out of 3 wins out of those games. But facing against an RSL team that, you know, I know some people in the beginning of the season didn't think RSL was a threat, but the way that they were able to rattle 2 wins in a row and have looked very good so far, it's definitely impressive how the Quakes basically shut them down in this game, or albeit they kind of had that break but don't bend mentality, because I thought RSL in this game, they had a ton of chances in this one, and you know, those missed chances that they had for majority of this game, and the fact that they didn't put this game away and let the Quakes maybe have a chance to get an equalizer late in this game is the reason why they of course did not get anything out of this game. But the shots in this one, 15 shots apiece for both of these teams. 4 shots on goal compared to 6 that the Quakes had. 9 shots off target compared to 7 that the Quakes had. Both teams had 2 shots that was blocked, and possession-wise, 59% possession compared to 41% possession that RSL had in this game. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of this game. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this game? And again, tomorrow we have 9 games that is going to happen, and you know, I obviously got my second dose of the COVID vaccine, and so far I haven't had any side effects from that second dose. Well, maybe it's because I'm still kind of in an adrenaline rush in terms of watching this game, and I'm still kind of a little bit stunned the fact that the Quakes were able to pull out a victory in this game, and that Wondo, you know, anytime when Wondo able to score, and especially with the way that he's able to score those 2 goals and be the difference of this game, you know, I'm obviously going to be very hyped up by that. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this game? But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.